about that issue. But even the one who speaks Spanish, the Spanish is not as good, and then we kind of combine Hebrew with it, and so it becomes a very confusing thing. And also, I wanted to kind of like see if we can start little by little introducing English speaking to our community, so that we can eventually do like a service in English. So everything starts, I think there's the desire, and I think it's also moving into more into the youth and the young adults. So this class I wanted to do like from 18 to 29. I'm not being strict if you're 30 or 31. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to put a number so that we can have an idea of what to attract. And I say 18 to 29 just to have an idea, but it should be just 18, whoever you feel young after that. They could be in the class, right? Or really just they speak English. I would think that would be the best way to say it. 18, you have to be 18 and speak English. I guess that's how we're gonna have it in order to have the group. So I wanted to think about Hebrew roots and what is Hebrew roots and what is the idea of that teaching, and what is the difference between Hebrew roots and Christianity by itself, or Judaism, or any other ideas in religion, and why we would like to learn it, and why we would like to follow some kind of teachings of the Hebrew roots. So Hebrew roots it really comes from the idea that before there was Christianity, before there was Judaism as we know it, there was this teaching, and it's called an ancient teaching. It's like a hidden teaching in the Bible from Abraham to King David. There was this idea that there's some kind of wisdom that it was given to them and eventually was lost, and then eventually became what we have now as Christianity and Judaism. It's called rabbinical Judaism, that's what we call them. And even though these religions have a lot of truth in it, because they do have it, just like any other religion, we would like to see the whole truth, because really a truth is only, a lie is only a lie when we make it a truth. So in other words, a lie is only partial truth. So if we have a partial truth, even though there's some truth to it, there's some kind of also false to it. So in order to just get away from the false, we would like to go back into the roots of things, why we believe what we believe. And most of us here are background in Christianity, so we have an idea of what salvation is, hell, heaven, and angels, and being good or not being bad, and commandments. I mean, we have these ideas, but where do these ideas come from? I mean, is it true there's a hell, there's no hell, and stuff like that? So the class in Hebrew Roots is about that. It's about those questions that we all have about life. So I wanted to start with something light today, because I wanted to see how we were going to do it. So I wanted to start with a verse in the book of John, and it talk about what Yahshua said about life, because I want to talk to you about today is about abundant life. So believe it or not, the purpose of the Bible, or the purpose of life, is for you to be happy. Happiness is the key to the whole thing. But happiness is a very vague word. When we talk about happiness, you might think different things. You might think about money. If I have enough money, I'll be happy. And that's not a lie. I mean, it's true that if you have money, you'll be going through this happiness, at least for a moment. Or what about health? Or what about anything else? So, but here we're going to talk about happiness as a state of mind. So what is happiness to us in the state of mind? So I want to read you a verse in the Bible, and then we'll talk about 12 steps to happiness. Because I wanted to start something light today. And if you have any questions, you just tell me what do you think about. And what I have found out through my years, I work as a psychologist, and just looking at things, is that people who have purpose, people who don't have goals, seem to be the ones who make it in life, and they become complete. Happiness doesn't mean that you're absent of suffering, only means that you are certain of who you are and what you want to do and where you're going. That's pretty much it. Nothing to do with always being laughing or always having everything successful, because there's no such thing. If somebody promises you that, they're lying to you, because life is also about suffering and about not getting what you want sometimes, so things are not going the right way. But that's another story. What I want to talk to you about is about the completeness of being secure of who you are. But there's a process for that. Because funny is that even when we are born, we are not born with instructions. So nobody tells us exactly what to do here. Our parents tell us what to do, but they're also lost, just as much as we are in many ways. They try because they have experience of things, do this, do that. But at the end of the day, you're pretty much alone. You have to figure out yourself where you're going, what you're doing. But there are some rules, though, that in Hebrew roots we call them commandments. But the word commandment in English means, to make somebody do something, commandments. In Hebrew, the word commandment is mitzvot, and it means calling. It's kind of like trying to make you desire it. It's a totally different type of idea. So there's no such thing as commandments in the Bible. In your English Bible maybe, and in Spanish, but in Hebrew, it only means calling you out. It's making you feel the purpose of a rule. So an example, when you play a sport and you cannot touch the ball, the soccer with the hands, at the beginning, if you never play soccer, you're like, why not? It's easier to get the ball and just throw it to you this way and pass it to you. Seems better. But as you start playing soccer, you figure out that, the hands, shouldn't be there. That actually soccer is about your legs and about, the purpose of kicking the ball. And if you get it, then the rule of not touching the ball with your hands start making sense, and you enforces it too. When somebody touches the ball with the hand, where you say, hey, he touched the ball, right, with the hand, because you know the purpose of it. So a lot of times when we see commandments in the Bible, they make no sense to us, and so that's why we rebel to them. We're like, I'm not gonna do that. That makes crazy, because you have no reason or no meaning to it. So in order for you to kind of understand these commandments that I want to teach you through once a month, that we want to do this and take one commandment at a time and just explain it and how to use it and how to make it for purpose of your life, you have to have the right mind. So Yahshua, which is the name of Jesus, right, in Hebrew, Yahshua, he says something interesting. He says, I cannot put any new wine in old bags. So in the old times, wine was put in these bags of leather. And if the leather was old and the new wine will hit the leather, it will break it. So that's why you can be taught by the best. You can get the best knowledge. I mean, we have so much information in the internet now that it's crazy. I mean, you can find about anything. I mean, anything is there. And why there's so much ignorance then? If we have so much access to it? Because the mind is not ready to receive. So in Hebrew, we have a word that is very useful. It's called Kabbalah. The Kabbalah means the art of receiving. So you must learn to receive this knowledge. But if you're not ready to receive it, you can go and get taught by the best. You're not going to get it. And so this is why we're having these issues with life. Because the knowledge is there, the technology is there, the way we live is there. Like before, a couple of maybe 100 years ago, if you did not work that day, you did not eat that day. It's not like that anymore. You can take leisure so much. A lot of your time is leisure. I mean, you go to work, right, and 8 to 5, maybe, and then you go home and you sit there and you can do whatever you want, pretty much. Go to the gym, see your girlfriend, eating, whatever it is. So you have this, this opportunity to learn, but somehow we're not learning. Almost 50% of the people in the United States do not know how to read. Almost 50%. That makes no sense, huh? I mean, Cuba, 98% of the people read and write, high school level. Our newspaper, Los Angeles Times, for example, is in the 4th level of reading. Because if it was a little higher, nobody will read it. But this is the United States. We're like, what the heck? But it's again, because the mind is not ready. It's like they give us all this stuff. It's kind of like, how can I say? It's like giving somebody bread, but they don't have teeth to eat it. That's kind of like it is. So the Bible was written with the reason to renew your mind, to make it ready to get something. That's all it is. So commandments or rules are not to make you a good or to make you moral or ethical. That's another story. That's your society and the way we do things. The Bible was created or was written for the purpose for you to receive the knowledge. And knowledge of what? Who you are. And if you know who you are, then you are ready to be happy, or you're not going to be happy. Things can make you happy. Again, money, health, love, or whatever it is. They can excite you and get you going, but you're not going to be permanent happiness. You always will be empty, because you will look yourself in the mirror and you will ask that question, why I'm here, where I'm going, and all these questions that we have. So what I want to give you is some rules, but I want to read you this verse, and if there's questions, then you can ask me. Yes? Yeah, you can. All right. You seem so gung-ho today. All right. Here we go. So John 10:10. This is what John 10:10 says. The thief comes only to steal, slaughter, and destroy. But I have come, this is Yahshua talking, I have come that they might have life, and have an abundant life. So the reason that Yahshua was in this earth is for you to have life, and to have an abundant. So in Hebrew we say, in order to be prosper, you want to have everything. You cannot just take one side. So you cannot say, if I only have money, I'll be happy. If I only have somebody who I love, I will be happy. In Hebrew, the idea is, I want to have the money, I want to have the person to enjoy it with, I want to have the time to enjoy all these things with. It's like you want to have everything. That's prosperity. But it starts in your mind. So I'm going to give you 12 steps that we use in psychology that kind of goes with the Bible and these ideas. Okay, so the first steps. So in the Bible, you have these rules. One of the rules has to do with your body, how you take care of your body. So there is something called kosher. It's like how we eat. Because eating in the Bible makes a lot of sense. Because if you eat better, you will feel better, and it will give you a chance to receive this knowledge. Again, the whole purpose is for you to receive the knowledge. If you can have the knowledge, you're free. You're done. You can do things. You have to have the knowledge. When I was younger, which is not long ago, right? I was going to university. When I was taking my BA, I was taking a class on business, because my first degree is in business and management. And I took a class on business. I remember well, and then the professor says, to do some kind of exposition. I don't remember what I talked about, but I talked about something that day in the class. So at the end of the class, he called me. He says, Carlos, he says, when you are ready to make the money in your life, because I was 21, 22 then, he says, in your time, you will not sell anything. Selling stuff will not be where the money is, he told me. The money will be where knowledge is. So if you can package knowledge, that's where the money will be. When you package information, and I remember well that it says you don't have to sell things, because other countries will go and build things for you, and it will be cheaper to do it here in America. He was a pretty wise guy, but he says the key to it is knowledge. If you can take knowledge and package it and give it, that is what the new world is about. And really, my friends, if you know it, the key to everything you see, everything we have, has to do with accessing knowledge, right? So with all that, then let's start with that. So I'll give you the first step. So the first step, when we talk about in psychology, we say, okay, so to allow somebody to start going to the path of happiness, the first step is that they have to exercise. That's the number one thing. Exercise is the key to it. So it has to do with something physical. So believe it or not, I know in different churches they talk about different things. The spirituality goes first, and the God is first, and everything is like that first. But in the Bible, it's not like that. The Bible says, really, if you read it, it says natural comes first, and then the supernatural comes second. So natural comes first, spirituality comes second. You cannot become spiritual until you take care of your body physically. So the neurologists, when they make these steps, they say, number one thing, you have to exercise. But not exercise to lose weight. I mean, that's another story. Like go to the gym and enjoy, losing the pounds, and which is also important. But actually, what they're talking about is just really moving. So if you move 20 minutes a day, you have to move 20 minutes a day, it will give you that opportunity to feel ready to receive. Because when you exercise, like walking 20 minutes a day, it will release some neurotransmitters in your brain. It's called antidepressants, and you're gonna feel better. So it's not competitive. So it's not like going to play soccer. That's a different story. Even though it's a good sport and a good exercise, it won't give you the same effect if you just go walking in the park. If you just go walking and just observe whatever is around it and do 20 minutes, you will see the difference when it comes to your antidepressants. So you're gonna feel better. So number one, in the Bible kind of says that's why when the people of Israel came out of Egypt, the first thing Yahweh did to them, God did to them, was, you need to eat this way. You need to do this. Why? Because he doesn't care that you don't like, pork, because he doesn't care. I mean, it's not about the diet like that. It has to do to receive the knowledge. So again, step number one is exercise. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? And again, all of us here, right, because we get confused, we think that we know how we feel, but actually we don't. You might be angry and you don't know it. You might be sad and you don't know it. You act angry and people know that you are kind of different and that you act, a little aggressive or mellow, but you might think that that's how you are. In 1994, I was detected with sleep apnea. And I was tired every day. I was so tired that I would fall asleep anywhere. But I thought that was normal because I worked so much. I thought, it's normal to be tired. Until I went to the doctor, he says, if you don't do something, you're going to have a heart attack. So they gave me this little machine. And the first day that I put that machine on, the next day, I felt like I was a different person. Like, this is how you feel when you're rested? Because it was like about, 10 years that I hadn't rested. I mean, I fell asleep like this. I was in the car with my friends, and they were talking, right? If they were talking to me, I was fine. I was talking. The moment they start talking to each other, I will fall asleep. And then when they say my name again, I will wake up and continue talking like if I wasn't sleeping. And they kind of like noticed, like, they thought I was joking, but it was just I was tired, right? So again, I know this sounds simple. It sounds like, that's logical, but you need to figure it out how you truly feel. Every day you have to kind of say, okay, that I'm feeling sad, that I'm feeling angry, that I'm feeling anxiety, because if you don't understand the physical world, there's no way that this Torah is going to work on you. It's not. I don't care if it's Yahshua, Jesus here in front of you talking to you, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Because he was here 2,000 years ago, and he talked, and he taught, and he did miracles, and not everybody believed him. Why? Because they were not ready. They're not ready. Some of them were ready, and they gave their life for him, but not everybody. But they knew who they were, though. Does that make sense? So you must push that physical part first. So that's why I will advise you that if you continue in this path, to always love your body, to always take care of your temple, always that. So number one. Number two, take charge of your mind. That will be number two. Take charge of your mind. So the idea is that you have 4 levels of a structure in your mind. So your mind is made of 4 things, 4 levels: perception, thoughts, feelings, behavior. That's it. 4 of them. And those 4 are connected to each other. So how I perceive things is how I think. And my thoughts produce my feelings. So like in psychology, we said, okay, somebody is having some issues, behaviorally. They're having some issues. So we try to fix their behavior, but we don't know what we didn't understand before. The behaviors are connected to your emotions. And your emotions are connected to your thoughts. And your thoughts are connected to your perception. So if you can change your perception, then everything else will start going the right way. So how do we do that? How do we start changing our perception? Do you have an example or an idea? How can you change your perception of things? Because the key is the perception. That's it. That's what it is. The Apostle Paul says you do not have to agree or agree with the thoughts of this world. The ideas of this world are the ones who captures us and make our perception. I'll give you an example. Now that maybe this new president Trump is now the new president, people start talking about, oh, they're going to take us out of here. Now we have to leave. And nobody has said that. I mean, that's just the ideas of fear of people, how they want to hear things. He said something like, he want to take out about 1 million people out. He said that, about 1.5 million, something like that. But he also said that he wants to keep 11. But nobody heard that one. Everybody heard just he's going to take people 1.5 million out. But he's going to take 11. So again, it's just perception. So how do you think we need to kind of start renewing the way we perceive things? You have an idea? How would that be? Again, is using your knowledge. So instead of, you have to start reading books that are more motivational, reading books of inspiration, being with people that, are more inspired with you.
Yeah, I would say just things to repetitive things that are positive. So that way your circuits change, like the neuro, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you connect to it. Because see, the idea is that the more you see the positive things in your life through knowledge, through experience, the more you are going to have more positive thoughts. We, by nature, we are very negative. But it's a reason why we are negative, because our brain wants to save us from danger. So it wants to remind us what is danger. So if you put the hand on the stove and you get burned, I believe it that you will remember the rest of your life. There's no way you will say, I wonder what the stove was about. No, now it's going to burn you and it's done. But when it comes to things that are positive, you forget them because your brain doesn't attach to that well. Because to the brain, it's more important for you to know the negative things. But it transfers in everything. So if you go to a restaurant and and they treat you wrong, and the food is bad and it's expensive, you're going to tell 11 people, average, that place is not good. Okay, 11 people that is not good. But let's say you go to a good restaurant. They treat you well. It's not that expensive. The food is awesome. You only will tell 3 people, and that is because we are basically that route. So you must be motivated to use these different avenues. So that's why having a group where you can talk about positive things is very important. Let me tell you, I'm not into too much, even though I'm a rabbi, I'm not very religious. I don't believe in you being in a 4-wall place and live all your life there. But I'm telling you, though, that if you attend to a church, whatever church you want to attend, the span of living longer is about 40 years. 40 years if you have a group that you go to. So I think it doesn't have to be only for the church, but it has also to do with family. If you have a group of family that you gather each other once a week, or do you have this thing that you feel like you're welcome, that you want it, you seem to live longer because of the positive renewal of your mind. So Paul says you must renew your mind in order to get this. But it comes from positive input, positive stimulation from around you. So I'm telling you, if you have people who are toxic in your life, you must let them go. And sometimes it hurts because it's people very close to you. Could be a brother, could be a best friend, could be whoever it is. You must let them go or you're going to die, because it's a renewing of your mind. You see, in all this, what I'm telling you are rules that are in the Bible. The commandments are like that. Commandments, they tell you specifically what you need to do. But see, I'm trying to teach you in this way more in psychology so that you can see it than in science. And the Bible, they go hand by hand. They're not the opposite. Does that make sense to you? So again, connecting to positive will do it, will give you a longer life, and will make your thoughts more positive. So there's this neurologist who talks about that if you in the morning, when you go to sleep, your brain kind of shuts down. These alphas come and active, and you become kind of like dead in a lot of ways when it comes to your conscious. But when you wake up, it takes 10 seconds for your brain to reboot. 10 seconds, that's what it takes. So you wake up, right? And you take about 10 seconds, you go, oh my God, it's 9:30, what time is it? I got to get up, or 10 seconds. So that's it. So he talks about that when you reboot, in these 10 seconds, if you can say something positive, like, oh, thank you, God, that I'm alive, or I'm so happy I woke up. Only one positive thought in these 10 seconds is going to reboot your brain into a positive day. So, of course, you have to kind of train yourself because you're going to forget right now what I told you. But if you every day, you have enough time. I mean, every day you have the chance to do it. So you can do it. You can see the difference. This is what I have read on that, rebooting your kind of like your brain on it. Any questions? So step number 2. That makes sense to you? Right? Makes sense. All right, number 3. Number 3 is you must learn to be easier on yourself until you give yourself permission to break free of the cycle of self-blame. So Buddha, who was a very wise man, said, compassion is the key of life, but compassion to myself. So a lot of our problems is that we blame things that we have done. And really, life is not about what you have done. It's what you have not done yet. That is what life is about. So what you have done, there's nothing you can do. People can tell you whatever they want to tell you, and they can tell you whatever, they want to blame you, fine. But really, there's nothing you can do. What you must learn is what things you have not done that you should be doing. And that's how you measure your life. So number 3, you have to be easier on you. Be flexible, because we are very hard to ourselves. When somebody wants to lose weight or wants to change some appearance, it's very hard to change. You know why? Because they don't like the way they are in that moment. And so you cannot change. You change when you say, I love myself, but I do want to change these things because I love myself. That makes sense? But if I don't like myself, there's no way I'll change it, because the negative would not let me do it. So the brain is sort of funny organ. Doesn't speak English. That's funny, huh? It doesn't speak any language. The brain looks at things, and just what it sees is what it gets. That's why when you're born, even though you can see better than anybody else because your eyes are brand new, you cannot recognize anything. You're kind of blind. And that's why you tell the baby, hi, baby. And he looks at you like he's not looking at you, even though he's looking at you, but he has never seen you. So he cannot see what he had never seen before. So when you tell your brain, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds, okay? You know what the brain thinks? Oh my God, there is no food. So he's going to storage everything on you. And so you start, doing the diet, and instead of losing, right, you're gaining, because the brain says, oh my God, we're dying here. There's no food. But if you put a picture of you, how you looked then, in your mirror, and you look at it, and it says, that's what I want to do. That's how I want to look, like me. That's me. Your brain said, oh, that's what we want to do? That sounds good. And it doesn't change it. But again, you must love yourself. That's why a commandment says, love thy neighbor like you love thyself. You never can love anybody until you love yourself. You must think of you first. That makes kind of weird, because in Christianity or in religion, they always think of everybody else, but that's not how it works. Look at when you're in a plane, and they say to you, if the oxygen, blah, 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 goes, levels go off, these masks are going to come out of the thing, right? And then what it tells you to do first? It says, put it yourself first, and then assist anybody else. And that's why a lot of us have, because we feel guilty, we try to help everybody else, and then the one that is not being helped is myself. And if something happens to me, then whoever depends on me are going to be in trouble. Does it make sense? So number 3 is one of the hardest, is to love yourself. So how do you start loving yourself? Knowing more about you. And that's why I like personality tests, and I like about, knowing about my signs and what is this and that. Why? Because I want to know about me. It's not ego. It's just not only ego. It's really I'm starving to know who I am. And if I can complete that, then I can teach others to also love themselves. And then you become what we call extraordinary mind. The moment that you teach people to be free and to love themselves. That's all Hebrew roots. I'm giving you Hebrew roots in a different way, but that's Hebrew roots. Everything we talk about Moses and King David and Yahshua and he walking on the water and all that great stories have to do with all this. One of these rules here. Next, we call it number 4, play to your strengths. So in order to start being happy, you must learn, again, what are you good at? And what you're good at, that's what you should be doing. So again, using the analogy of a sport, right? If I am good at being center forward, why I'm playing goalie? And most of the time we play a position because they tell us, play here. We need somebody here. Okay, I'll play it. And so you play it, but you're not happy. But if you know who you are, you would tell them, I'm not a good goalie. I'm not going to do well there. I want to play. This is what I play. And so you have to play on your strengths. So again, but if you don't know your strengths, then you're going to have a hard time figuring out what to be happy about. Does it make sense that? So, a lot of people, I work in, my degree is in industrial psychology, so I do a lot of ideas on how people work and stuff like that. And when I done surveys and stuff like that, what I have found out is that most people are working in the wrong thing. And they're very unhappy in what they work. But because good money, security, what happened to me, long time I started working in the county, in Los Angeles County, and anybody who knows about jobs and security, working with the government is probably the best because, the benefits, blah, 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 right? And I have already 13 years in the county, and I started as an eligibility worker, and I was already a deputy when I was in 13 years, which is pretty fast. And so, by being, about 17 more years in that time, I would have done my 30 years. So I would have been like 50-something when I retire. They wouldn't give me my money until 65, but I will get 100% of what I made. Imagine that. So it was secure. But I was very unhappy. I was not happy writing stuff for welfare. I could write it, but that's not what that's what I wanted to do. And so I got out, and the people around me said, "You crazy? What are you doing? You know how hard it is to get in here, and you already made up there." And I did it. And funny thing is that when I got out, I went to live in Hemet. Well, not Hemet, it was Paris, which is not Paris, France, okay? That would have been nice. But it was an experiment that we were doing. I was writing the Bible because I really wanted to do the translation of the Bible. That's what I was doing, so that's why I left the county also, because I wanted to do something that I wanted to do, that I believe in. So I started writing, but I decided I would work some stuff, so I started working in this school, and I was working with level 14 of mental health with kids. They were crazy. Crazy right now, and violent, right? But and I was teaching algebra in that class, and it was just craziness. And then the school was pretty small, and so the guy who used to do drive the van quit. And so it was just me, the teacher, and somebody else were there. And so the director says to me, "Carlos, will you be willing to ride the van until we find somebody else?" I was like, again, because I always think about people and how to help and be the team player. That's how I was taught. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Man, these kids, I had about 9 kids in this van. Crazy, I'm talking about crazy. So when I would stop in the light, they will open the door and start running. I had to get out and start running them. It was just a crazy. And of course, in that time, as I'm running them and I'm doing all this stuff, like thinking, why did I leave the county again? Right? Why did I did that? But now, as I say sitting here now, my daughter is here in that sense, and she can testify on this. I do what I want. I have no boss. I do what I want, how I want it. Yeah, I have to hustle, and I need this, and I need that, and that's fine. That's fine. Because to me, I'm happy doing this, what I'm doing here right now. This moment, that's what I'm happy. I enjoy it. I've been teaching since 9 o'clock in the morning here, and I still have one more teaching after this. And I have no issue with it. I have no issue. And I like it, and I love it. And yes, I get tired and blah, 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 because life is this. But it's always going up. Every day is like, what am I going to do today? I have my therapies. I go to San Diego. I eat at the best restaurants. I have good friends. I don't have no boss, which is what I wanted. So I don't know. That's how I see it. But it starts by knowing my strengths, and I knew that teaching is my strength. That's what I do well, and I can communicate with people like that. So I do everything around that. Does that make sense to you? So the Bible says that to you. So that says, Yahshua says, I'll become strong in your weaknesses. That's what he says. So he says, what you might think is a weakness to you, I can make it strong, and you can live by that thing. So that would be number, what would we say? That's number 4.
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah, number 5, we have to eliminate stressors. So that's number 5. So stressors are part of life, and we know that has to do with crystal, right? What do you call it? I said in Spanish, crystal. What is it called, Mijo? The chemical that comes out when you're stressed. Crystal, right?
You're talking about cortisol?
Cortisol? No, it's not cortisol. It's
Norepinephrine?
it's like a norepinephrine, but it's crystal. It's Cristol. Crystal, which is kind of like a hormone that comes out. So think about it like you're in the jungle, right? And then you're eating and having a good time, and then a lion comes.
Cortisol.
No, it's not cortisol. Cortisol is also it's like from cortisone. This is more like it's from take about stress related. Let me find it here for you. Which is a stress for Barcelona's people. I'll tell you right now. Let me have if we can find it quickly. There's a book that we have read. It's called "Zebras Don't Get Ulcers," and it has to do with this idea. Let me see here. Is cortisol for stress?
Yeah.
Crystal means cortisol.
Say it again.
Crystal means cortisol.
It's part of it, huh? It's part of the family. It's stress.
Cortisol or adrenaline.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you're in Spanish, crystal. Maybe I'm don't know in English. Okay. So anyway, what happens is that repairs. What it happens is like when your body, right? Like right now, you're sitting down, relaxing. So the body says, okay, we need to repair something today. What do we need to do? Well, your kidneys, that coke is really kicking your butt. So let's go and fix it. So your body, starts saying we're gonna fix it. So they go and they start fixing it, repairing your kidney. But now here comes this lion who wants to kill you. So the body goes, forget the kidneys, forget everything. Just put some blood in your legs, and you're gonna start running because it's about life or death. That makes sense in the jungle. But the brain, the same way, does it when you're having some issues with your brother or issues with somebody, you get the same stress. So the body says it gets into this alert. And so you cannot get, that thing gets fixed in your body. You start to get, you get down. And then this is where the source of cancers and all diseases, because your body is not doing what it's supposed to do because it's in this flight or fight alert because of this hormone. So the idea is that we have to figure it out, what things in our lives are really stressful to us. So you have to they say that if you can identify 3 things in your life that are really stressing you out, you must or delete it out of your life or minimize them in your life. One of the 2, minimize them or delete them. Does that make sense? But you have to recognize them. For example, if the traffic is really like you cannot handle your traffic, then try to figure out to go in the train or do something else or change the job. Oh, I won't find a job. Change the job. Because we are so faithful to pain. We're so faithful to what we don't want. If you don't want it, change it. But again, you're like, I won't find another job like that. It's a lie. They won't find somebody like you anywhere else. So you must change it. So number 5, is that 6 already? No, 5. Eliminate the stressors, right? Yeah, so you just make sure that you recognize them. So the Bible is like a scale for weight. So you get on it, and it tells you how much you weight. That's all it does. It tells you 300 pounds. You better start getting out of start running, right? 300 pounds right there. Doesn't tell you what to eat, not to eat, what to do. It just tells you what it is. So the Bible itself gives you that. It tells you. It gives you scanning. It scans you. It tells you, you're not doing well here. You're not doing well here. You're doing well here. So that's the step that you must do with stressors. Just figure out what things does that to you. Number 6, you must live in the present, right? So the idea is that you find yourself right now here, you have to start pushing everything that was in the past or that you want to do in the future and enjoy the moment. Because we have a hard time with that. Like we would like to see somebody, and then when we get to see them, we start talking about, start thinking about the past with that person or about what could happen to us in the future, and we never enjoy the moment. That's why when we talk about relationships, and you start thinking about the future with that person, it becomes nuts. You meet somebody and you start thinking, is this person for me? Really? Why don't you just enjoy the day? And if it's for you, you'll have another day to enjoy it. And eventually, you'll have a lot of days to enjoy it, but that's all it means, that person is for you. But you're already thinking, you get anxiety, it is or it's not, it is, It's like school. When I started school, oh my God, how many years to be? 8 years? That's how it takes to be a doctor, right? 8? Okay. But if I would think it that way, I would never finish. But if I take one day at a time, so Yahshua says, do not worry for tomorrow, because every day has its own worries. So the key is to always try to be in the moment, in the moment, in the moment. That will be number 6. Number 7 is to spend more time with positive people. So again, we humans need to belong. So that's why we wanted to do this group. And again, today we started fast because we just told people very fast, but next time we will have more people. And we can maybe have like some people that think like us in a lot of ways. I did not think like that, but be more positive. So that's number 7. Number 8, strengthen close relationships. So we all have friends. We all have family that we love, and we must text them. We must call them. We must nourish the relationship. Don't wait for them to do it. I have some people that I text and that I do things with, and even though I have a friend that doesn't text me that much, but I text him every day, hi, how are you? And maybe in 3 days he'll say fine. That's his answer. I don't care, because to me he's important to me. I don't know how important am I for him, but he's important to me. So I strengthen my relationships is very, very important. And commandments in the Bible is about that. It's about how to behave, how to have better relationships. That would be number 8, right? Yes. Number 9, be friendlier, so that you are more kind. That's what it means, be kindness. I always tell the story. I used to work here at Masonic Homes. It's about 33 acres of land. So you walked a lot there. And I remember every morning before we could, I will park on the top of the mountain, and I will walk down to that to see the kids. And there was this nurse who always would come. And we'll meet there because I was at the same time, right? There, I would come in, and she would say to me, hi, and I would say hi. And then I say, how are you? But I didn't really want to know how she was. I just said it because that's how you say things, right? Not because I really meant it. So when somebody says to you, hi, how are you? You want to hear what? Fine, bye. So you have to be a little more friendly than that. You have to care about people, being more kind, have more empathy, have more compassion. And again, that's what you learn in the Bible. And that's what Hebrew roots is. It's about social intelligence. It's about emotional intelligence. That is the key to the Bible. It's not about, believing in God more. Because at the end of the day, God is in all of us. And if I have better relations with you, then we can get better at that, okay? Okay, number 10, help others. That one 9 was being friendlier. That was 9, yes. Number 10 is help others. So I know that you can help, like here at Quejilat, in our community, we have these little boxes that we put money for the poor, for our people. So we can help families here at Quejilat. And that's good. That's one way to do it. But you kind of like have to always be around and always think to have somebody in your life that you're helping. It could be a friend, it could be your family, it could be a stranger, but you always want to do something individually, not as a group, because we can put money together and help people. But it's also to have somebody that you have contact with. Like you say, I'm going to help this person, or I'm going to connect and assist somebody. And again, there's commandments for that. So number 11 is interesting, this article, when it comes to these 12 steps, the people who wrote this are not religious in any way, but look at what number 11 is. Deepen your relationship with your higher power. So it's not until step 11 that it talks about having a connection with your Elohim, with Yahweh, with God. It takes all the other steps in order to start getting into God. And that's why when people have a hard time trying to connect with a higher power when they haven't done the other steps. But when you've done the other steps, then this becomes more natural to you. It goes deeper, and then it makes sense to you. Because the book of John, or the first letter of John says, how can you say that you love God that you cannot see, and you don't love your brother that you can see? It's this idea. So if I have done everything to the other people that I can see, then I'm ready to have this higher power of understanding, of having a deeper relationship with. Does that make sense? And number 12, develop an attitude of gratitude. So the culmination of happiness, at least by Princeton, this is a Princeton University wrote this, is that you have a lot of gratitude about life, being grateful about who you are and what you have and what is around you. When you're sad, when you're depressed, when you're angry, when you're not level, when you're unsatisfied, gratefulness is the least far from your world. But when you're complete, you're always saying thank you. You're always seeing things. I was reading a book about happiness and about gratefulness, I think it was. And so it has this list. It says things that, I'm hungry. How many times do we say that? How many times, right?
Once a day, minimum.
Minimum. Right? And so it says, well, I'm hungry. and then it had that statement, I am hungry. ¿Vas a comenzar la clase allá o no? Por aquí está abierto, ¿no? Yes, aquí. Sí, sí, mijo. Um, so he said, I am hungry, right? So and then on the other side he said, 500 million people will not eat today. It's like, what? And the other one says, I am thirsty. More than 1 billion people don't have water, clean water. And so they had all these statements. You're like, oh my goodness, and I say things like that. I'm thirsty, but I don't want to get up because the refrigerator is too far from me, right? So I take my daughter to please give me some water, right? But see, it's like you need to be grateful because you think you have these needs, but you don't have them. You think you have them. I'm hungry. But that's because you haven't, gone to the restaurant or you don't, but the food is there. You're not getting it. But these people have none. So it's a big list. I'm telling you, it was a list like this. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, only in that list, I should be like jumping of joy. I should be like kissing everybody and kissing this earth and hugging the trees if it's possible. But it's because of my mind not being renewed, not understanding who I am and what is my purpose in this world, then I cannot be grateful. And it seems by this study in Princeton that happiness, you measure it by how grateful you are. So I wanted to kind of like see in these classes that we can measure that you can come once a month and have being grateful of being alive, to be young, to make mistakes, to improve, to understand all these things that is about life. So what do you think? You think is something that you would like to do, that we can do together? Next time, if we come at 3 o'clock, because I want to do it from 3 to 5, I'll tell you why. Because I'll see what we can eat together. I want to tell the one who cooks here, who kind of cooks for us, so that we can have a class and eat together. Because at the end of the day, maybe you get some relationships going, as we meet more people. What do you think?
Depends on the menu.
That is true too, though. Okay, so any questions? So the only thing I'm gonna tell you to do though is you need to kind of bring a Bible, because today I didn't know who was gonna be here. I didn't wanna just start with the Bible and said, okay, my God, another Bible study, which it is a Bible study, but it's in a different aspect. I don't want it to see it like a religious way, but in more of a intellectual understanding about your intellect and your emotional side. More practical for you, so that you can take something today, maybe one of these steps you can start doing. Why not? And then see some change in your life and be more happy, more complete. Does it make sense? Okay. Yes.
Actually, I have a quick suggestion. I think it would be great, like, if you had like the listings of the readings and also like goals that you'd want us to see from us. If you put it out like in a Google Doc.
Okay.
And then you or like anything you need to change or anything, like we're all able to see it if you have our emails, and we can see the change immediately like happen.
Makes sense. I have no idea. Does that sound good, Charlie? Yeah? Okay, so maybe if you give me your email, it's not too private. All right. Yeah, you give it to me, and then I'll put the 12 steps there, what we talked about today. I'll put the 12 steps, and I'll put some Bible verses. Now, there's something that we can do. It's called sections of the parasha. It's called, the Bible is divided in 52 days, in 52 weeks, and it has concepts, concepts. And so I can send you the reading material. You can read it, that's up to you. So in a year cycle, you can have read the whole Bible, or at least the first 5 books of Moses, plus some New Testament. Most of the Bible, you will read it. If you want to, I can give you that as an attachment. If you want to read it or not, that's up to you. And I'll give you the concept of the class and the idea of this coming next class, so that we can get ready for it. That makes sense. Something like that you're talking about?
Yeah, because then it will give us it will give us like a set of idea and a set of like goals for us I just think it'll kind of give us a little more structure on what to get to.
Sounds good, Virgo. I have two Virgos in front of me, and a Taurus, and a Pisces. What are you,
Natalie?
Natalie? What is your sign?
My sign, I'm an Aquarius.
An Aquarius.
Pisces almost.
Almost Pisces, huh? Cosmic. All right. Okay, so I have 2 airs, 1 air, 1 water, 3 earths.
And one complete.
Oh, he's fired. He's a fire here. All right. Okay. So let's pray and then we finish. So if we do it to 3 to 5, we can do this. Any other questions? Okay. Let's pray. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu Malek HaOlam. Blessed are you, O Yahweh, King of the universe, who has given us the opportunity and the pleasure to study your Torah. In the name of Yeshua, I thank you for the opportunity for us to be together and to talk about positive things for our lives. And I know that your word never comes out empty and it always transforms our hearts and our minds. Again, we thank you for our Mashiach. Thank you for life. And I ask you that you put a desire in the people that are supposed to be here with us, so that we can do our purpose in this life. In the name of Yeshua, King of Israel, we give you thank you. Muy bien.